Why did the U.S. Forest Service approve the construction of a Bigfoot trap deep in one of our national forests? Did they truly believe in Sasquatch? Or was it just a clever stunt to lure in curious tourists? A recently uncovered report and never-before-seen photograph suggest the trap may have actually worked, and that the U.S. Forest Service made sure no one would ever know. Welcome to Parks Unseen. I'm your host, Liam Wolf. Tonight, we investigate another shocking discovery buried within the National Park archives, one that raises questions about the Bigfoot trap's history and whether it succeeded in capturing a live Sasquatch before it was decommissioned. Date: August 16, 1979. Case ID: 134. Location: Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest, Oregon. Time: 12 a.m. Reporting Officer, Ranger M. Price. Incident Report Summary. A father and son camping near the Applegate River witnessed an unidentified creature caught inside the Bigfoot trap, attempting to break free. Details of the encounter. At approximately 10:30 p.m., a man and his son emerged from the forest and approached me during my nightly patrol. They claimed that something had been caught in the Bigfoot trap and was trying to escape. They had set up a camp near Applegate River earlier that morning as part of a birthday trip for the son. Around 9:45 p.m., the boy awoke to the sound of heavy footsteps and breaking twigs outside their tent. He quickly woke his father, and they both listened as the creature moved through the brush. Intrigued by the idea of Bigfoot, the boy convinced his father to stay instead of fleeing the camp, and they followed the sounds deeper into the forest. When they realized it was moving toward the trap site, they kept their distance. They watched as the creature circled the structure. It hesitated before peering inside, drawn to the bait. The moment it stepped in, the gate slammed shut behind it. A deep, angry roar quickly followed. Then it banged at the trap's walls with enough strength to shake the entire structure. At that point, they ran until they found me on patrol. The father was visibly terrified and unable to articulate exactly what triggered the trap. The boy, on the other hand, seemed ecstatic, convinced they had captured Bigfoot. Given previous instances of bears getting caught in the trap, I privately assumed it was another false alarm, but I advised them to take shelter at the nearest lodge and avoid returning to their campsite until daylight. I promised to investigate the trap in the meantime. While en route to the lake, I passed their campsite. I searched the nearby brush until I spotted a series of massive tracks. The size was larger than a bear's, and the shape was closer to a human's. Judging from the deep impressions, this creature was heavier than both. I followed the tracks until they vanished into dense brush. It was so dark even with my flashlight, I briefly thought I had lost my way. The forest was alive with the chatter of nocturnal wildlife, but in the distance, I detected the sound of banging metal and a putrid odor drifting in the wind. As unnerving as they were, I used the noise and the scent to guide me. Not a moment later, I emerged into a clearing and spotted the trap ahead. The banging intensified, accompanied by labored breathing. The structure appeared unstable. It shifted with every impact from inside. I approached cautiously, circling toward the wire mesh gate to get a clear view of the trapped creature. Deep down, I was praying it was just a bear. As I got a few feet closer, the pounding stopped and I heard slow, deliberate sniffing. I raised my flashlight and aimed it through the gate. At first, all I saw was matted, dark fur pressed against the mesh. Then, a human-like hand gripping the metal. The fingers were long and had sharp claws. The rotting stench was coming from the enclosure. It was so overwhelming I had to cover my face as I stepped forward. I struggled to find the creature's face until it crouched down. Then, illuminated by my flashlight, its features became clear, eerily human, yet resembling a primate too. entirely unnatural. Suddenly, its expression changed and it let out the most terrifying howl. I recoiled. Whatever was in there, the trap would not hold it for long. I was neither equipped nor prepared to control it by myself, should it escape. I swiftly retreated to the lodge and contacted Forest Services for urgent intervention before filing this report. I strongly recommend the immediate restriction of civilian access to the Bigfoot trap near Applegate River. Furthermore, I once again urge for its complete removal from RRS, as it poses a serious risk by attracting dangerous wildlife and endangering curious civilians. This report is submitted for official documentation by Forest Ranger M. Price of Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest. The first time I laid eyes on this report, I felt a strange mix of intrigue and uneasiness. Like the kid, part of me wants to celebrate the idea that Sasquatch might finally be exposed. But the bigger question is, why was the Bigfoot trap approved in the first place? The U.S. Forest Service allowed its construction in a publicly accessible area near a hiking trail, practically inviting curious tourists to check it out. And yet, over the years, Ranger Price and others continued to report bears getting caught, creating an ongoing safety hazard for unsuspecting visitors. If it was such a risk, why wasn't it shut down sooner? And here's where things get even stranger. The morning after the reported incident, we discovered that U.S. Forest Service officers arrived at Rogue River to inspect the trap site. Within hours, they were gone. By the next day, the trap had been fully restored and left operational. No official response, no warnings, no safety measures. So I have to ask, if officials are so determined to deny the existence of Sasquatch, why build the trap at all? Why maintain it for years? Public records say it only ever caught bears throughout its operating years. But how do we know that's true? Here's a theory. What if Sasquatch was actually caught that night? And after extracting whatever was inside, officials quietly reset the trap and let it operate for another year to avoid suspicion. Once it served its true purpose, they pivoted to calling it a tourist attraction for visitors, a novelty. I know it sounds like a reach, but humor me. Let's dig into this a little deeper and see if I can't change your mind. The Bigfoot trap was originally proposed by the North American Wildlife Research Team, or NAWRT, a small organization dedicated to the study of cryptids and other unexplained creatures. Their decision to build the trap came after a surge of Bigfoot sightings in the area, most notably a claim by local miner Perry Lovell, who found 18-inch human-like tracks near the Applegate River. Once they obtained a special use permit from the U.S. Forest Service, construction of the trap was completed in 1974.
It's time to go Bigfoot hunting overnight.
News 10's Dave DeRorange continues his series on the Bigfoot Breakdown.
It has a dedicated research organization documenting the sightings across the nation.
You guys got something up here?
NAWRT, now defunct, was founded with the goal of gathering scientific evidence to prove the existence of elusive creatures like Sasquatch. The group believed that by setting a physical trap, they could capture a live specimen and present undeniable proof to the world. The design of the trap was simple, yet effective. A wooden box reinforced with metal and equipped with a spring-loaded gate that would trigger when something stepped on the bait platform inside. However, the trap never captured Bigfoot, at least not according to the official public records. Instead, it frequently ensnared local wildlife, particularly bears, leading to concerns about safety for both animals and hikers. But here's where things don't add up. The trap remained actively baited for years, until 1980, when the hatch was permanently locked open because it was deemed a safety hazard. Why did it take them so long to come to that conclusion? If bears were getting caught early on, Why wasn't it shut down immediately? And did the 1979 incident reported by Ranger Price finally push them to disable it? Not only that, but by the time the trap was deactivated, the scientific credibility of NAWRT had crumbled, funding dried up and interest waned, and eventually the organization dissolved altogether. What if they actually accomplished their mission? After all, USFS took it off their hands and has maintained the trap ever since, but only as a historical curiosity. Could NAWRT have found what they were looking for, only to have it forcibly taken and relocated to some unknown government testing lab? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Now here's the kicker. When we opened the box containing the incident report, we found something unexpected. A Nikon FM labeled number 134, the same case number as the report. Camera belonged to the man and his son mentioned in the report. It appears they surrendered the camera to local park officers at the lodge and never reclaimed it. As we reviewed the negatives, we mostly found photos of a typical father-son camping trip, hiking trails, scenic overlooks, setting up camp and enjoying the outdoors. Except for one photo, the very last one taken. Can you imagine my surprise and elation to discover this? Taken at night, the photo is grainy, but you can just make out the outline of something inside the trap. A large figure covered in dark fur pressed against the gate. Whatever it is, it doesn't resemble any animal I've ever seen, and it's definitely not human either. Could this be proof that the Bigfoot trap actually succeeded in capturing Sasquatch, only for the U.S. Forest Service to arrive and cover it up? In Ranger Price's report, he describes the creature's tracks as larger than a bear's, but shaped more like a human's. He also notes a foul, rotten stench, far stronger than anything you'd expect from a bear, unless it was sick or decaying. When Price got close, he saw the creature gripping the metal mesh gate with long fingers. Bears have broad paws and short claws built for climbing and digging, not wrapping around a metal grid like a human hand. He also specifically described facial features that were both primate and human-like. Even in the dark, he would have noticed a bear's snout. Large primates aren't known to exist in the Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest. So, if it wasn't a bear, what was it? Comment below to share your opinion and let us know what you think. Surprisingly, the Bigfoot trap still stands to this day. Naturally, as part of my investigation, I trekked the Collings Mountain Trail to see it for myself. Its location was once remote, but after the Applegate Dam was built, it now sits near a road. The trap is still maintained by the U.S. Forest Service, but only as a novelty and an unusual piece of cryptid history that still draws visitors every year. The structure stands at about 10 feet high. It's made of wood that's been bolted together, with a metal mesh door designed to fall shut behind anything that might enter. Over the years, the wood has aged, and the metal reinforcements have rusted. As I expected, the spring-loaded gate remains permanently locked open for safety reasons. I also found graffiti along parts of the structure. These days, it's more of a curiosity than a functioning trap. But the question remains, if the Bigfoot trap was just a gimmick to attract headlines and tourists, why did the U.S. Forest Service approve its construction knowing it would bait dangerous wildlife and put those same tourist civilians at risk? Why was Ranger Price's report never publicized? Official records claim the trap only ever caught bears, yet a park officer documented an encounter with something that was clearly not a bear. And if it was truly a safety hazard, why did it take them 6 years to retire it? Oddly enough, they shut it down just 1 year after Ranger Price's report, almost as if they kept it running just long enough to avoid suspicion. There are just too many questions and contradictions to take this incident at face value. Over time, the trap was reduced to a roadside stop, a quirky landmark for hikers passing through. But let's not forget, it was built because of reported sightings in the area that were taken seriously at the time. If the goal was to downplay its true purpose, to turn the Bigfoot trap into nothing more than a novelty, then they succeeded. But the truth isn't so easily forgotten. The photo, the report, and the strange details that don't add up, all of it amounts to something bigger than a mere tourist attraction gone wrong, don't you agree? And just like those who first set the trap decades ago, we remain determined to follow the trail. Have you ever visited the Rogue River-Siskiyou National Forest in Oregon? What did you think? Especially if any of you were fortunate enough to see the trap functioning in its heyday, back in the late 70s, we definitely want to hear from you. Comment below and tell us your story. Thank you for joining us on another journey to uncover the hidden archives of our national parks. Until next time, stay curious and keep your eyes open. You never know what secrets may be lurking, waiting to be unveiled in the great expanse of parks unseen.